Hey everybody, and this is the O.P.O.V podcast, episode 34.
Hello.
So what's going on, guys?
Good week, everyone?
Not for me.
Oh yeah, you down.
Yes, I've been battling
IR.
something for the past, I don't know how long. This is like, I don't know.
Now, how does that work when you go to church as far as being in the choir? You just got to sit this week out?
Last week I did my best, but I should have been up there.
Sick.
Yeah. Child, listen. And then like now, since I'm on meds and stuff, because I have like a sinus infection, I can't really hear that good out of this ear, so I'm definitely gonna sit it out if I can't hear that good, because you be singing all over the place.
It sounded like me out there. But
It's been rough, guys. It's been rough. But actually, I feel less terrible than I had a few days, for the past few days. So.
Good.
Well, hopefully
The
you feel
antibiotics
better.
is working.
and you said you had a good week also?
I mean, it was. I made it. I made it. So.
I had a good week. I said I had a good week. It was slow, but good. I was saying, I was able to get a lot of things done and situated.
That's always good. Productivity is good.
Yeah, I hung out with some good friends. Well, some of my past friends yesterday. That was good.
I saw your Facebook. It looked fun.
It ain't look fun. But, it's always good to catch up with people. You know what I mean? That it was always good-hearted people. Sometimes I'll be worried about linking up with the people that I know is kind of shady individuals. But I know it's good-hearted people can just have a good time with no worries. But, I don't know. So what you guys want to jump into?
I really wanted to know what you guys feel about Syria. Because I know last week we had the conversation with the candidate, but your president has really been acting up. He's been acting up the whole time, but
right.
A little more than usual.
So did he set is he setting us tariffs on their country?
On Turkey?
Yeah.
That's what he said. But really,
if that, I think that may help. But
he's not. He don't care. Ultimately, he don't. I
don't
feel like
care,
he did it intentionally because
it's like somebody said it was like genocide.
Yeah, pretty much. Because okay, so we were basically helping the Kurds, the army that's in Syria. They were isolating ISIS. They had 12,000 ISIS members over there, and basically Trump made an announcement that we're going to start pulling our troops out of Syria.
So what?
So now that leaves the Kurds to open for slaughter from Turkey, and Russia was trying to get in there too. So
and it's crazy because then, if I recall, the last few years, we kind of pushed them down to there by bombing their others,
Yeah, and basically that's what it was. They were pretty much holding them with the help of our allies.
We got them cornered up.
Yeah, so
too bad we got
now all the members of ISIS that are going to be escaping are going to be probably flooding into Europe and stuff like that.
And also they said there's a big possibility there could be something going on in Europe.
Yeah, so this isn't good. It's basically we betrayed all of our allies by
doing whatever, just doing whatever. It's crazy.
So now he's trying to backtrack a little bit. And basically act like he never did or said
as he always did. He did some stuff like this.
Did y'all see him when that clip of him where he was talking at one of the rallies? He was they're like kids in a schoolyard. First you gotta let them fight a little bit. And then
True.
What a clown.
What did he say?
Oh my goodness.
He said they're like kids in a schoolyard or something to that effect. You gotta let them fight a little bit and then break it up.
Trump 2020. Get ready for Trump 2020.
I hope not. I hope this is it. I can't take it.
Trump
I can't either. But you know what? I feel with all the stuff going on, the blood is on Congress's hands too, because
Mhm.
they should have acted way before he was able to get to this point. Oh, so now Republicans, now y'all outraged now? Y'all wasn't outraged when them babies was down there getting abused at the border.
And even that stuff that happened, what was that in Puerto Rico where they have electricity like forever?
Oh yeah, we
That
didn't
was
really
crazy.
give enough aid to Puerto Rico after that hurricane that basically.
And we did something shady in Venezuela within the last year.
He really did shit.
But talk.
And caused mayhem.
Yeah.
So.
And then it looks like the New York State is probably closing in on Giuliani too. It seems like he might end up getting indicted pretty soon.
He's gonna be it. I'm telling you, he's going to give up.
Giuliani's
yes,
about to be the rat.
yes. That's what I think.
I mean, I wouldn't be.
And I feel like somebody else feel like that in the camp too, because they were saying, why would he let Giuliani do the things that he was doing? Like he shouldn't have been able. Like one of his other peeps, Trump, was saying that. So I feel like they think that too, or he's the weakest link out of all of them.
And you can kind of hear like in Trump's speech how he's kind of like starting to distance himself from. That's how he rolled at. I don't really even remember the dude who got caught up for human trafficking. He's like, yeah, I didn't even know the guy. I didn't really like him that much. Dude did all these pictures with y'all together. Like, what are y'all?
Yes.
Chilling on the island.
Oh, how about the one dude? I forget his name right now. Talking about he did the press conference talking about, oh yeah, we needed them to do the investigation and we was going to withhold the funding. Yeah, that's something. It's politics. We do that all the time.
Right.
I'm like, dude,
you can't come out and say it.
Like,
but you can't come out and say it.
Well, they say
well, he definitely came out and said it.
Yes,
and then he tried to pull back on it like later on.
I was shocked this week that Lindsey Graham, who is a Trump diehard supporter, he was even like you know what I'm saying? I was like, now I'm like, okay, maybe it's about to shift a little bit because he's been ride or die, like it don't matter, like you know what I'm saying? So this week he finally, he was just, I guess he's had enough. I don't know.
I mean,
I just like to see them fall off one by one, or distance themselves, or turn in their resignation.
It
like,
ain't
you know
gonna
what I'm
happen
saying?
because what's gonna happen is once it gets time for them to back their party, they're gonna go back to him representing him. And it's weird like that with those parties because Lindsey Graham hated Trump before he became president. He was talking crazy about Trump.
But really, it's the optics of unification of the party. It's really, I don't really feel like it has a whole lot to do with Trump.
No, it's not. It's unification of the party.
Yeah.
That's how it was with the Bushes.
So I don't know. But to me, it feels like too little, too late to me.
I feel like right now, Congress and everybody, they might say the right thing when they're individually asked because they got to run. People got to vote for their seats. So they're going to try to say the right things.
Right.
But if Trump does become president again, they'll all fall back in line, I think.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully somebody start. My Elizabeth Warren is starting to pick up steam.
Oh, yeah, she's doing well. She's doing well.
Maybe I need to start paying attention to her. I just never gave her a chance after that little Native American.
Now, I know I said this before, but I'm telling you, when Trump called her Pocahontas, I was weak.
Trump was funny, man. For the wrong reasons.
But yeah, I hope everybody reads a little bit more into the Syria thing because I think it's very important for us to know about that because right now, I don't think anybody's paying attention to it because it's not directly impacting us, but it very well can. Because this move is going to make us a lot of enemies if it already has had. Didn't they say like 1,000 people were killed already or something like that in the area? So
I'm sure that's crazy.
Yeah. So I hope everybody checks up on that. Read up on what's going on in Syria.
where you guys want to go from Syria? That was pretty like gloomy.
I know.
I mean, it's up to y'all. What else we got on the docket?
What else is on the docket?
I mean, we can talk about Atisha. Was it Johnson? Is that her name?
Tatiana Johnson.
Yeah. That's
sad too.
So, Tatiana Johnson, apparently, one of her neighbors were concerned about her. So they called the police to do a wellness check on her. The responding officer, long story short, ends up shooting her and killing her in her own home.
Tragic.
Was
Crazy.
super tragic to the point where, like, what were you even doing, dude?
Right.
And to the point where nobody, it looks like, wants to back this dude, like from the mayor to the chief of police to
immediately.
represent this.
And I really appreciated that.
I did too.
From the very beginning, they was like, he didn't follow procedures, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. The mayor spoke up, like he was just, there was no way around it.
And for the chief to say that too, that was big. And
immediately.
Then I've been pointing out, this is white people saying that too. So that was big. Now, as far as, I don't know if they did with that other trial, that Amber Geiger thing, if it set a precedence to where they're not afraid to speak up anymore. But if something light of a sentence come out of this one, I'll start feeling slighted a little bit for real, because that might be a reason why they spoke up too. Think that there's a possibility you might only get like 10 years. And
I think this might be our 99 year. Like, I feel like if whatever they put on the table, maybe he'll get the max.
I think down there though, they got the death penalty.
I hope so.
In Texas?
Yeah.
Like,
I think that they might set an example for that.
He was wrong because the neighbor who called, it was a non-emergent call, so the neighbor didn't call 911. So I know that they are well trained with those calls versus 911 call. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, him coming there, like, why did you even pull out your gun? Like, you're doing a wellness check. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you were supposed to be making sure that the person who lives there was well. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why was your gun drawn out? A simple knock on the door, because he said that the door was open from 10 p.m. and it was like 2-something in the morning, like it was 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. Like, he could have just knocked on the front door, police, and then she would have came out or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? He did none of those things.
Like, oh snap, I didn't even know my door was open.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, he did none of those things. And they said something about, first they said a gun was found, then they said that she had the gun. Either way, the chief he threw that out. He was like, it don't matter. It was irrelevant from the door, which I loved. I was just like, oh, like whenever he said that, I was just like, oh, like they're serious or whatever. She could have shot him. Like, yeah, she could have shot him. Like,
but she was in her home, minding her business.
Her own business. And somebody's outside of my house shining a flashlight, so if she did have the gun in her hand, like, you know what I'm saying, she's going to go see, you know, who's outside of my house, who's in the back of my house or whatever. But yeah, he didn't say police not one time. He just opened fire, which is crazy. Like, it's crazy. And like her sister said, like, you're not even safe in your home, which is like, it's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy. So hopefully he will be the one who get the 99 years. Hopefully he won't get no damn hugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he gets what's, you know, coming to him. He resigned before they was able to fire him. Yeah. They said that they were going to fire him, but he was like, he resigned first. So yeah.
Cause I mean, do I feel like he went there with the intention of killing somebody?
No.
Probably not. But if you're that scared on the wellness check, you don't need to be a police officer.
Yes, I agree.
I seen some a video that I think it happened like last week where the deputy, he's a black dude, the sheriff deputy went into like the Social Security office. He had his gun and everything on it, and the freaking security guard draws his gun on the black deputy, telling him to put his hands up and stuff because he got a gun on his legs. And the dude's like,
it's my job
so dude calls the cops because the black dude's just like, all right, I'm just gonna leave. This is crazy. And so the sheriff deputy's trying to leave out, and he won't let him leave. And he got his gun drawn on him and everything. So
he should be fired.
So what happened was the white sheriffs came and seen that it was their partner that was getting harassed. Dude got fired, everything. Like, I think he got charges on him. They put charges on him and everything. Like, menacing, because they was like, he shouldn't have had his gun drawn in the public.
That could be considered a hate crime. Because would you have done?
But then when the black dude trying to leave, the white security guard was putting his foot in the elevator so he wouldn't leave and had his gun drawn.
Like, that's crazy. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I'm like, and this is a cop. He got it on the sheriff.
And do you know how traumatizing that could be for somebody to do that to you?
That's what the sheriff was like. I thought we was supposed to be on the same team. Like,
everybody's a threat. If you got the wrong color skin, you are a threat. It don't matter if you are in your home.
And this dude's like right way above you. Like, this is a sheriff. Like.
So it's just that's sad and it's crazy and it's scary. It's
scary.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it went from Bo to, and he was a male. Not saying there was any difference, but he was a male and then a woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't. You can't say I fair because he was a black male. She was a black, you know what I'm saying, woman. So
and I think and see that's when it comes to like the whole race conversation in America. Like, that's why I hate when it's brought up saying, well, things need to get better on both sides. No, black people are playing defense while the other side is playing offense. And I hate to say it like that because, you know, ultimately, I love my white brothers and sisters and I just can't we all just get along. That sounds really cliche. But the fact of the matter is, like, we have to wake up and think about life in a totally different way. There's certain ways that we have to operate day to day that our white counterparts don't even have to think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And just people with guns in general. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whether it be the police, whether it be your neighbor, like, you know, whoever got these guns. Like, you know what I mean? They just feel privileged to pull and shoot. Like, or just pull. Like, right here in Pittsburgh, there was a road rage incident, and there was 2 females in the car, and in the other car was a gentleman or whatever, and he followed them. I guess whatever happened, and he followed them and pulled a gun on them. I guess they cut him off or whatever, but he followed them and pulled a gun out on these 2 females, and everything was caught on camera once they got into the casino parking lot or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, even if they did cut you off and give you the finger, why would you follow these 2 females and pull your gun out on them? Like, that is crazy to me. Like, that's insane.
It is.
A lot of people get killed over road rage. There's a couple of football
insane.
stars that got killed over road rage.
Like, that's crazy. Because it cut off, and then you got the finger, so now you're going to follow them and potentially shoot them.
First of all, I don't even have enough time in my day to follow somebody to where they're going. That's stuff to do. Even if I am mad about something that happened on the road, it's never that real because I have things to do.
Right. So just people with guns in general, that's, I don't know. It's terrible.
Thoughts and prayers definitely go out to her family.
Yes.
I know that's a hard pill to swallow when it's just a woman hanging out with her niece.
Her nephew. They was playing a video game or something.
Yeah.
And I hope their family get justice. I hope that they prosecute old boy to the fullest extent. What was his name? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know. But the way the councilman or whoever that woman was that was speaking, how she was just saying how it's up the duty of the citizens to take care of that family and everybody in the community to help out. And they said they were going to try and look after the family. So hopefully they put together some type of trust fund for those kids and family to help them be able to at least move on a little bit or make the transition easier. I'll say that, but not move on.
Right.
Also, I think it's a good time to say rest in peace to Elijah Cummings.
Yes.
Congressman Cummings. He worked alongside Dr. King in the civil rights movement, didn't he? I know, when watching everything on TV, he's definitely a face that I'm used to seeing, and I was really taken aback hearing about his passing a couple of days ago. So
yeah, big prominent figure in the Black community.
I feel like that's a huge loss for us because he was very vocal and outspoken, and especially I feel like if something was wrong, he was speaking up on it, and he was demanding answers. Like he was all over that. So we'll definitely miss that. Hopefully, someone like him is able to fill those shoes in those ways.
And he represented what, Baltimore?
I thought they said.
No,
he's definitely like Maryland.
It was what district he represented down there. I want to say it's Baltimore. That's one of the places that the House president called an S-hole district. Talking about it was rat infested.
Well, have you ever been in Baltimore? It is rat infested, but it's not like a racial thing. They say
so
it's
it's
really,
New York, and that's where he's from.
Yeah, I heard New York's like the worst with the rat infestation.
Speaking, real quick, like I remember one time I was watching Wendy Williams, and she pulled up this video of Madonna talking. She was in her penthouse talking, and you could see a rat run past in the background. Like that's how crazy it is in New York.
River rats everywhere.
I know when we was there, they was like they was walking in the alleys like they were cats, like they were just like out.
Where?
In New York when we went a couple years ago.
But they be like that downtown too. Don't get it messed up. You walk through some of those alleys downtown Pittsburgh, you might see something with a long tail.
You know what? I actually did see some downtown.
Yeah, like
because I used to have to catch the bus down on, I want to say that, is it 6th and Smithfield? Like there's like a church that was there, and I used to have to catch the bus in the evenings. This was years and years ago. But if you would turn around, there was like a church behind me at the bus stop, and you could see like rats like scurrying past. It was crazy. I'm sorry, I got all off topic. Elijah Cummings.
Rest in peace.
Now
you had a theory that he's not really 68.
Well, I mean, I guess he is. They did to me, he looked older. I don't know why I felt like he was older than 68, but apparently he's really 68.
I think he was older. He looked older from his illness because they said he was battling some health issues for some time now, so it might have just aged up him. Whenever he was
definitely
fighting. And I know the last couple of times that he was on, like you could tell he was like declining, like you know what I'm saying, like
energy.
So,
but you can tell even in his voice, he's a warrior. Warrior.
Yeah. So in Trump, he said he said his condolences. He didn't take a jab, which I was just like,
yeah, because the craziest thing is he still low-key comes out John McCain.
Yeah,
but he even like John McCain.
Yes, that was serious.
Yeah, that was serious.
Yeah,
but and John McCain's family kind of still be low blow and Trump too. So that's probably why Trump is petty. If the family say something about him, he's gonna say something back.
King petty.
But I think
if you could be petty in the seat of the president of the United States, you're King petty.
Right.
It's crazy though, because before I think like last year, I think he's learning on the job. Because last year I don't think he would even have said anything about Cummings. It would have just been nothing.
And so is that like a slight hint of a compliment?
I don't know, but I just feel like somebody's in his ear about.
He don't listen to nobody.
Hey, there's been times where he said the wrong thing, and I know he probably wasn't trying to say the wrong thing, but it just come out there. Like when he said about that,
I don't know.
what was it, Charlottesville? When he's like, "There's good people on both sides." Like, yeah. So, I think as far as his empathy, he's starting to be more empathetic as far as for Americans. Period.
That's crazy. You said her. I haven't seen her on the news or anything in a while.
Good.
Kellyanne Conway.
Is that even her?
Like,
still?
She was part of his cleanup crew. I don't know.
I don't even think she's there anymore, is she?
I don't know.
Who knows?
That's what I'm saying. A lot of people is
Things got the turnover rate like a call center.
I know.
But other than that, I don't want to keep talking about Trump. What else? What else you guys want to talk about?
I don't know. Any hot topics this week? I felt like
I do want to ask y'all something.
Okay.
Oh, was you about to say something?
No, I feel like I didn't want to leave out that Muppet. The Sesame Street Muppet. I just felt like because they have a lot of new Muppets on there that deals with everyday issues that we are dealing with, and I just think that at some point, let the parents decide what's best for their kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like TV nowadays is like ultimately like pushing things upon us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the new Muppet on the show, the parents had addiction issues or dealing with opioid issues or whatever. Excuse me. Like, what's the age range of kids watching Sesame Street? Like,
I don't know.
That's hard.
One thing that I
What's wrong about it?
I just think that that's a bit much.
Did you listen to the Muppet Talk? Or
yes.
You just read the article?
No, I listened to the Muppet Talk, but I'm just saying, like, he was dealing with, you know, his mom.
Hold on. What was the Muppet said? He was dealing with his mom. I want to hear this. No, because I might be entertained. I might have to start watching the Muppet.
No. I just think that you shouldn't have to. Like, you know, your kid is watching this and this Muppet comes along and they're like, oh, this is, I forget what they said the Muppet's name is. Their mom is dealing with opioid addiction or whatever. And the kids are like,
what's
opioids? And then Sesame Street is telling my kid this. So then later on in the day, I got my 4-year-old coming like, Mom, what's opioids? Like, you know what I'm saying?
And
like,
you're like,
wait a minute. Like, where did you hear that at?
But
Where did you learn that at?
One thing that because I did take a look at an article on it, and they said that this Muppet, the storyline is for their web version, which is different, I guess, from the one that comes on TV. I don't know which makes. I don't know if that makes a difference to you.
No, because a lot of kids watch it on.
But PBS might not have been with it, so they might
on the TV show.
Online.
Yeah.
A lot of kids watch online stuff. They watch YouTube.
Now that's
just seen Chloe take my phone. She's 2.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she's 2.
Everything is on the computer now.
Yeah, like, so.
I can say my daughter wasn't. She watched Sesame Street a little bit, but she wasn't like a fan of that.
There's some people that are.
Some kids are. We were.
But I look at it like it's who's ever in these focus groups that's writing this stuff up. They need to take in consideration everybody, because it could be a good thing as far as like for bullying and stuff like that. Like certain people might not understand why their kids, why a certain kid might come to school with like the same clothes on all the time or smell funny, maybe because their parents might have an addiction.
Well, and maybe they are trying to put these hard topics out there as a way to help start the conversation between parents and their kids about things that are. Because, I mean, I know we want everything to be warm and fuzzy for our kids, and we do want to shelter them as much as we can. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is it's a cold, cold world out there, and we're going to have conversations with our kids that we just don't really want to have.
Right.
But at the end of the day, who are they
to start it
that soon? Because, like she was saying, her 2-year-old can operate a computer. So if they stumble upon stuff, you should have to tell your kid about opioids at 2. You should let your kids be kids, and then when the things come up, tackle them as they are after you base them with the good morals. Because you gotta let kids be kids. When they start knowing too much stuff, they're gonna ruin their childhood.
Or do you have to go, like if your kid is too little and they come to you and ask you about this, are you able to postpone the conversation for another time? You think they're ready?
You can.
You'd be like, they say, well, Mom, what's opioids? You'd be like, baby, You know.
Yeah, if my 4-year-old comes and repeats that and says that to me, like I'm gonna be
First
like
taking it back.
Yeah, like what? Like no, that's not a conversation that I should be having with my 4-year-old. Now, if my 11-year-old comes and asks me, like you know what I'm saying, like that's a conversation that we're having. Like you know what I'm saying. But my 4-year-old, just by repeating what they seen or heard on Sesame Street, like I feel like that's crazy.
But I think that they should have some type of honestly, not even Sesame Street, but I think in like middle school, high school, they should have a class about that as far as like a health and drug class or something like that. Because a lot of kids be super young.
That has to deal with it. That has to deal with stuff like that. Absolutely.
Well, no, when we were growing up, it was something more amongst the kids where they were talking about huffing and
it was that thing. All that stuff, glue, all that crap. I think they still do that stuff though.
But I think this topic specifically is dealing with somebody who has a non-traditional home life where their parents, you know, they might have stuff going on, and they want the kids to know that, you know, you're not alone, especially since it's an opioid epidemic now. If somebody else is out there and their parents are battling addiction, they want the kid to feel like, you know, they're not alone.
I just think that that's like...
So there's a little group
of
that.
Yeah, like I just think that that's just like for the age base. Like, you know what I'm saying? If it was older, like I would feel, I don't know, but like I'm thinking Sesame Street, I'm like, okay, the oldest kid that's probably watching that is like 6, 7.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's, I don't know.
I feel like now, I mean, and then kids advance a lot because I couldn't see my daughter watching Sesame Street right now. She's 7. So, I don't know.
Well, then if they're younger, you don't want your 2-year-old's first word to be opioids. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
kid about to be
sick. I don't know. I just thought that was something that was interesting. That
I'm interested in watching it now.
Yeah,
I think
and forgive me because I hate like making everything about race, but immediately when I was watching the video talking about the new Muppet and reading the story on it, I'm like, this type of consideration was not taken during the crack epidemic. You know what I mean? Do I feel like consideration is needed for people who are battling addiction? Absolutely.
Yes.
And people can argue one way or another on whether or not it's considered a disease. I won't go down that road, but I wish that the same consideration would be taken into account, or would have been taken into account.
No, because it wasn't affecting, you know, crack didn't per se affect them like the opioids is. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't an emergency. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of the black generation is still plagued by crack. Like, you know what I'm saying? So now it's, you know, at my age, it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Your parents might have, like, you know, it might have skipped me, and I hope that my kids don't pick up some shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because now they popping mollies, and you know what I'm saying? So hopefully we could break that.
But I do understand that too. Do you think it's because crack is kind of more of a slow death? And I mean, we know that's really race, but a little bit, crack is kind of a slow death. Like, you die slow, and not opioid. Once you overdose, it's down there over.
Like, you talking about like heroin
fentanyl, even the pills. And all that stuff. Yeah. It's like, that's, you know what I mean? It's like,
because I've never.
Some people's like bodies are literally dropping. Yes. But like in crack, it'll turn the city into zombies. But they don't necessarily. I know crack has been alive longer than people that never used it. So I might have something to do with it. And crack is definitely
to me, addiction is addiction, and you know.
Because I look at somebody that's on crystal meth. They don't have no love for the people that use crystal meth. That's just like, to me, the white people's crack. Because people that use crystal meth, they sit there and just wither away.
Don't you know I was offended when they carded me for getting some Sudafed? Like, lady, don't you hear my voice and see the look in my
Get that cracking with some Sudafed.
I'm like,
you about to be some Breaking Bad.
And cook this up and make me some meth right now.
You about to be like,
I don't even know the recipe, lady.
I know.
Blow up your whole kitchen.
Yes.
Baby. But
yeah.
So you think that, but aren't those what the methadone clinics are for?
What?
That's just a setup. Like, you get off of being hooked on something and then you hooked on methadone.
Yeah, that methadone is bad.
Like, I think that's dumb.
That's
like,
bad.
you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to go out and buy your heroin, your fix, but you can get this methadone. Like, they're hooked on that.
Well, because of that withdrawal, that's kind of
yeah.
to stop people from feeling like they want to die. That methadone has kind of soothed you into an easier way to try to wean you off of heroin.
But they don't be weaning them off. They just,
well, they do, but they switch it to
they addicted to the methadone, and those lines be like wrapped around the building, like,
and then they be looking like zombies.
Yes.
So they turn them in. If you're a survivor of heroin or something like that, because honestly, some of these pills that people be taking, you can't tell the difference between a heroin addict.
Well, don't they say that's how people transition into? A lot of people transition into using heroin because they can't access the pills that are prescribed by doctors. So then, the heroin will give them a similar fix. Although I think I've heard that the heroin ain't even as good of a fix as the pills if you're addicted to the pills.
Oh yeah, they say the pill, it's the hardest to try to wean yourself off a pill.
I'm glad I never been experimental drugs. I never experimented with drugs.
It's just crazy how the heroin works, because the deadlier it is, the more special it becomes.
Yeah, you know what? I never was the type of person that excuse me, experiment. Like I've smoked weed before, but that's the extent of it. And even that, I really don't.
Now, question: do you think the white man might have put the fentanyl in the hood? Because you see how if you get caught with regular heroin and you tell them you're an addict, then you just get a little smack on the wrist, might get whatever it is, the methadone clinic or whatever.
Rehab or whatever.
Yeah. But if you get caught with fentanyl, they're down there trying to take your whole life.
But I heard that the fentanyl been being put in drugs. But now, okay, so this is what I heard. I don't know if this is true or not, because you know how the hood be talking.
I mean, fentanyl been around, but it's been dropping bodies too. That's what I heard.
I would like for you to let me finish.
Okay.
So, I feel like you've heard of more bodies dropping recently than you have in previous years. That's what it feels like to me. But from what I heard, like, people will actually pay doctors to put the accurate, like, dosage amount into the drugs and then for distribution. But somebody felt like, hey, I could just save this money and not pay nobody and put this in myself. They start putting it in themselves, and then they were putting too much in, and that's causing more people to die.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
They got their hands on a batch of fentanyl and they tried cutting heroin with it, and it didn't, you know what I'm saying? It worked because they was now looking for that high, because the fentanyl is the ultimate high. So they kept pushing it and cutting it through. You talking about?
I'm talking about dealers. I'm not talking about users.
No, but she's talking about dealers.
Yeah. It wasn't about, they was going to the doctors and getting the regulatory amount. Like, no, they got their hands on some fentanyl and they was just supposed to cut it with that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right, but
no doctor was telling them, okay, take this many grams and add it to this many grams. No doctor it wasn't no doctor saying that this is a safe dosage. No doctor ever said that. But the doctors...
My sources tell me differently, but...
To the dealers?
Yes. That's how it used to be anyway. That's how it used to be.
In the 70s?
I don't know.
Like, what are we talking about? The 70s, 80s?
I didn't really ask a time frame.
Yeah, because I know as far as even in the late 90s, early 2000s, when the fentanyl was around, it was just around. I ain't never heard about it already being already in the pills. It was always used to cut.
Right, but that's what's happening.
But
right?
it's all, man.
But when you're
now people
with the fentanyl, you're only supposed to use a certain amount so it won't kill people.
Are you? No.
You're not supposed to be using fentanyl anyway.
No,
right?
I know that.
No, but the point is that you do. It's weird because you do want to get it to that point to where it's damn near about to kill him. It ain't like I'm gonna put.
That's what keeps them coming back.
Yeah, like
that's what they're chasing.
That's what they're chasing.
So they're like, hey, give them more because they coming back faster and they're spending more money.
Right. I get that part, but if you got somebody who don't know the proper amount to cut it with, like if you put too much of it in there,
it's not by mistake. Trust me.
So you're intentionally yelling to somebody to kill them,
or damn near.
Because that doesn't make sense. You would be killing off your clientele.
No, it's actually good marketing.
No,
I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but so once you
I'm
hear
sorry. I have very limited knowledge.
Once you hear
this
put
part,
it like this,
but it just so happened that I was having a conversation with somebody and they had
once a fiend here,
that to me.
Once a fiend here, another fiend drop from it. I guarantee they're going to try to figure out where that product came from, and that person's line is going to be up the door.
I mean, because if you watch the movie with what's his name, the Black Harlem Gang, what's his name?
Bumpy Johnson.
Bumpy Johnson, you know what I'm saying, like they had the blue magic back then, like you know what I'm saying, they was chasing heroin, like you know what I'm saying, wasn't no fentanyl, like wasn't none of that in there, like they just wanted heroin. I feel like they got the cut and the cut was put in it and it was making them chase that, but they just wanted to sell pure heroin, like you know what I'm saying. So they was ODing off of that.
Oh yeah, people
you
still
know what I'm
OD
saying?
off of pure heroin. But the thing is, you could buy cheaper heroin and put the fentanyl with that to make it like it's almost pure heroin. That's you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so, they're cheating the game. But the thing is, it's crazy about now that you see is people really just have bricks of fentanyl. Like it wasn't like that before.
Fentanyl is typically given to patients for some
right.
sort
So
of surgery,
the
right?
ultimate drug dealer is those pharmaceutical giants.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like those are the people who is ultimately the biggest drug dealer because they didn't warn you the effects of it. They just said, here, this will make you feel good and we can give it to you at this price. You know what I'm saying? Keep writing the prescriptions, keep feeding it to your patients. You know what I mean? I might have went in and got my hip replaced. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I got prescribed some Oxy or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? So those people ultimately became addicted to those pills because the doctor was like, here, take these 30. Take, you know what I'm saying? Like take 40, like writing a script for it. And the pharmaceutical companies wasn't saying you can only get this amount, this, you know, in this time frame or whatever. So I don't know. I just think it's all bad, and
Well, that wouldn't be pharmaceutical companies. It would be the doctors because they have to write out the script, right?
Yeah, but the pharmaceutical companies don't give no warrants, like no warnings. Like if the patient is on for this amount of time or take this amount of doses, this is the possibility. That's why they're suing them because they never gave those labels out there. They're just like here, and the doctors is writing now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And now that it's a little bit, you can only get 5 pills. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? The doctor ain't trying to give you no more. So that, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? But when it first happened, like, it was just like, here. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? And working in a working in a hospital, like, I never even knew that there was, you know, fentanyl pops. Like, there's actually suckers that you can be prescribed to, like, you know what I'm saying? To suck on fentanyl or whatever, like all day, or morphine, like you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know.
That's crazy.
And they're Nurse Jackie.
Yeah, that was my show too.
I know that's Jackie.
Me too.
I want to say a doctor just got caught for writing scripts, fake scripts, but I don't know if what it was for, though, what type of pills. But yeah, I want to say it was up in Philadelphia or something like that.
It's just crazy. They just, I don't know, it's drugs.
Something that ain't gonna never stop, because at the end of the day, there's always gonna be another drug. I don't know what's going on with this synthetic lean that everybody drink. Not even
what? As if regular lean wasn't bad.
Well, you know, there's always like normally shortages on the real lean, so when people drink is the fake lean.
So they're looking for that promethazine, which is also from the pharmaceutical companies that they are.
But what do people find? Because people are able to buy on the black market, right? If they can't get a prescription, they can get.
Well,
but on the black market, are you getting what you're supposed to be getting? Like,
a lot of times you do, though. A lot of times you do know, because not this state, but a lot of, again, within the last probably 2 years, it's illegal now. But not this state, but there's a lot of Western states to where it would be easier for you to get your license. I mean, to get a script from like doctors and stuff like that. I know. I got a friend down in Vegas. He was telling me this like 2 years ago, how it was easy for him to get like 4 people to get scripts that they could all get like a certain amount of lean from the real doctors, and then he'll just buy them off of them, and he'll go and sell them for street value.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and even like with the marijuana licenses and stuff like that. Like a lot of those states, they'll be quick. You just told me your back hurt. Okay, they're not going to do any type of physical or anything like that.
I could have sworn one of the Vice documentaries too I was watching, wasn't they getting it from like Mexico or somewhere?
Probably.
They're probably super cheap down there, but
because I want to say that they went to, was it Texas where they was talking to people at?
You said as a Vice?
Yeah, it was a couple years ago that I saw this though. Sorry, I can't really remember, but I could have swore they were talking about how they were able to get it.
That would make sense, especially down in Texas, to get it from Mexico.
Right.
But I don't know, that whole drug issue is something that'll never stop. We just got to make sure it don't keep hitting at a younger and younger age.
Yeah,
I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. Like now, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm from a generation where, you know, my mom's, my dad's, my aunt, like, you know what I'm saying? They got caught up in that crack era. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? So seeing that, I was like, I'm never doing that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it made me more conscious, like, to never do that. You know what I'm saying? Not
because you were able to witness the effects firsthand.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of people that I know wasn't so lucky. Like, you know what I'm saying? So their mom and dad were, you know, on crack, so then they fell in the trap. Like, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of, you know, people that's my age aren't so lucky. Like, you know what I'm saying? So now they are, you know what I'm saying, doing whatever the current drug is other than weed. And then now maybe their kid is popping pills or Xannies, because that's the end thing to do now. Like, you know what I mean? So
pill popping is definitely
it's just crazy. I have an open, like I told y'all before, like my kids talk to me about a lot of stuff. So I would hope that they would say like, oh, you know what I'm saying? One day, like, you know, I popped it, and so I could let them know like that's not the
way to go.
That's not the thing to do. So.
It just would be scary. Weird to me. I used to have friends that used to, like, I'm talking about, like, pour, like, a couple ounces into, like, a 2 liter. And I'm like, it's cool, but you passing out. Like, why would you want to pass out? You probably got, like, $3,500 in your pocket, probably, like, $20,000 in jewels, or that you passing out around people that don't really know you. Like why?
So it makes you pass out.
You get that lax store, you'll pass out off of lean.
I don't think I've ever been around anybody drinking lean before.
But they put I know this is how it was when I used to. I'm speaking like I'm an old man now, but they used to throw the Jolly Ranchers, everything in it, and talk about this tastes so good. And next thing you know, like 10 minutes later. in the middle of a
Yeah,
studio
but and
session.
then like I think
Passed out.
That's crazy.
And
I'm
then on
glad I
top
was
of that,
never experimental type.
I think
Yeah.
that the thing that people are not saying is like people like Lil Wayne and Rick Ross
They're
have
having
seizures
seizures.
by drinking that.
But you know what messed me
People are
up?
not saying that.
You know what
Like-
messed me up is Rick Ross went on that on the Breakfast Club was talking about the seizures or whatever, and I guess he talked about it in the book, right?
Right.
But then he came out with a song with somebody that was from Texas, and he was sitting there promoting the lead. I'm like, I just see you in the Breakfast Club talking about you was having seizures because of this, but you sit there talking about pouring up just because you on the song with somebody from Texas.
I mean, but because and now. Even on our Breakfast Club interview, he doesn't use it anymore because that.
But
was
why are you promoting it?
Exactly.
That's terrible.
So as a community of people who witness this stuff tearing our communities down, whether it be lean, whether it be heroin, whatever. When do we begin to hold these artists accountable when not consuming their music or not? Like, hey, this ain't hot. Like I don't want you to encourage my baby to do that.
I know A Boogie with the hoodie. He got a song right now. It's called Perk or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Did you hear that? Like that's the whole song is about
Popping
pills. Just popping pills. I was just like, I just
What
heard it the other day. Like I was just like,
Well, Future got a whole
mixtape.
mixtape. Well,
Molly Percocet. Like that.
Well, they got that Dirty
like,
Sprite
crazy.
mixtape. I'm gonna drink that.
Oh yeah, Dirty Sprite. That's about lady.
I just know when we was experimenting, with Tiger Rose, Mad Dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those were the things we were experimenting with. Like, you know what I'm saying? And not what
Tiger Rose, Mad Dog.
Yeah, like, those were the extent of our experiment. Like, you know what I'm saying? Other than drinking, like, beer or whatever. And, people experimented with weed or whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't never
Yeah.
we wasn't never on the hunt, like, oh, let's go find some pills. Like, we never did that. Like, you know what I mean? So,
I know I tell
that
people
shit is
I'm a
crazy
one
to
sport
me.
player.
Mad
Yeah.
Dog.
I'm not even got an
Yeah.
offer in that. I'm a
I'm
one
cool.
sport player.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mad
Like, I'm
Dog
cool.
and Mad Dog and Tiger Rose and stuff like that. Those is like the beginner person.
Yeah,
I was trying to get drunk.
Yeah.
And what's that called? No, wine port or port?
Taylor Port.
Taylor Port.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Somebody put me on the Taylor Port like 2 years ago. That was my first, like 4 years ago. That was my first time ever drinking. I was like, this is nice, bro. It got me
So those
Two
were
glasses have you on your back.
those were the extent of our experimenting. Like, you know what I'm saying? We experimented with different types of liquors or whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't never like, oh, these pills or...
Somebody pop a Zanny, then pop a perk. They don't know if they want to be happy or mild. Like,
That's crazy.
That's what happened with Pimp C, man. Sitting there drinking that lean and sniffing coke. Your heart don't know if it want to slow down or pump up.
Wow. So that's what.
Yeah, you can't be sipping no lean, slowing your heart down when you sniffing coke.
Wow.
And I did a marathon, a binge watch of the show called Autopsy. It comes on
A&E?
Did it come on Andy? It comes on Reels. It comes on Reels, but I had binge watched it a couple of months ago, and it actually made me depressed because I binge watched it for like 4 days, and they did all these autopsies of celebrities or whatever who died, and ultimately like a lot of them like Jimi Hendrix and like. It was all underlined around some drugs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whether it was like, they used and they're real crazy when they were younger, but then it caught up to them when they got older. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like, it was depressing for me. And I like stuff like that, but I binge watched it for like 4 days, like episode after episode after episode. And it was just like, it was like all of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Ultimately, especially in the music business, I feel like they push that, here, take this line because they got to stay up. You know what I'm saying? Like actors, here, take this line because you got to be up or whatever. So then it was just like a snowball effect. So it was this, that, and the other. And then they either OD or got older. Like, you know what I'm saying? So now this was being broken down because the years and years and years of it was depressing. Like, damn.
But when you're in Hollywood, period, though, they tell you that's, what was it, the 70s and 80s? They like, they ain't know what coke or none of that did to them.
And not one episode was about something that weed had a long-term effect on him. Like, you know what I'm saying? None of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you know, he would say, like, you know, there was a history of, you know, smoking marijuana or whatever, but there was always marijuana and cocaine or marijuana and heroin. It wasn't just like, oh, you know, they had a history of smoking marijuana for 20 years and then, you know what I'm saying, this happened or whatever. Like, no, it was never just marijuana. It was always a harder drug. Cocaine, heroin, you know, something like that.
But hold on, but I thought that, was it you who was telling me that Joe Rogan was talking about on his podcast how that was a false narrative put out there that marijuana was a gateway drug?
It is.
It's a false narrative.
It is. It is. That's crazy.
No, he would
and
go.
do you think that was put out there because too many people were profiting off of the sales of weed?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what he said, and he had somebody on his podcast said it was the hippies that turned marijuana bad because they were so anti the man in America, so they needed some way to paint the hippies as villains in the 70s. Okay. And it was like, that's when this is your brain on drugs and all that.
Yeah, like these people are crazy because they're against something that's
but
totally bad anyway.
Meanwhile, all they was trying to do is protest the Vietnam War.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, the dude who was on the drug, I can't remember his name, but he said that was the change of when marijuana became bad, and they put that.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, marijuana's been getting used forever.
Ain't Nancy Reagan the one who did the "This Is Your Brain"? Or was she?
That was her campaign.
That was her. I think.
I remember that.
Was
Who did the dare?
Just say no. Hers was just say no.
Okay.
Like hers was just say no.
Because that "This Is Your Brains" on drugs. I know that probably was what, the 80s.
I remember what they do, crack an egg and
the boy, that was the weakest commercial book.
Egg your brain.
Yes.
That was the hardest, weakest commercial ever.
Yeah, this is your brain on drugs. It's fried. Any questions?
I had
like how long is or until you're done though? Like how long? Like
that sales pitch had to be. We got the commercial like for the commercial later.
Man, that was in that room and they thought that was too deep.
Cause I did too. When I see that commercial, I was like, "Ooh, that was hard."
Yes.
Look at it now, like this.
That's what my brain was like on drugs,
right?
Dang.
But before we leave, I did want to ask y'all something. How do you guys feel about Pastor Wilson?
Oh my God!
I mean, this serious, like.
That was a hot topic. Just these, couple of days, and people, had so much to say about Pastor. What's his name, Pastor? Wilson.
Why did you look at me?
Did you see the video?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I would not.
No, but you see the memes.
I saw the memes because I was scrolling on Facebook like, what in the world? And then I was like, this, and then reading people's statuses, I'm like, this is a for real pastor.
Now, do you guys, now, again, the response and everything after was like, I can't even. It was like it was as big as the chicken sandwich from Popeyes.
Yes.
But on a serious note, do you guys feel like it'll be harder for him to repent and like get back to trying to be godly or holy?
It's never hard to repent.
But do you think it's easier for him to take his star-studded status to the next level on social media? I think he might follow the devil.
It may be harder for him, like, depending, this is just my opinion, it may be harder for him to maintain being a pastor in his congregation. But the repentance part is, you're in a relationship, you have your own independent relationship with God. So if you repent, that's between you and the Lord. Like,
but no, what I'm saying, it might, given that he stayed on social media, his status right now may deter him away from God a little bit more than coming back to God. He like if it's tug of war, it might pull him because social media. He's like
because of the notoriety and the fame.
Yeah, he got. I bet you.
I think he's gonna keep it rolling. Like you know what I'm saying. And if he loses his current congregation in the town that he's in, he can pick up and move away. Like you know what I'm saying because Well, they say he only got. I don't know if that was true because the
What they
lady,
say?
the girl who exposed him, she was offered a position in the choir or some shit. Like I don't know if that was true. I don't know why she did that because he made promises and he was married. Because he's married or whatever. Did they say he was married or they made it a big deal because
she was a side chick? Is from what I read.
Okay,
they got his white. Tell me that if it's really the real thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? I just looked at it like, okay, you know, the pastor was. I mean, yeah. I mean, but
he's so old.
Human, though. Like, you
it's
know,
so sad because he's so old and he don't even know he's being taken.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
I mean, from what I heard, I'm basing my opinion or off the context clues of what I read. He was doing all kind of theatrics when he was in the act of doing whatever he was doing. So if you're doing all that, are you doing that because that's what you do, or are you doing it for the camera?
See me,
both of them.
So he was.
I
don't know. I'm just
it
saying,
seems like he was aware that.
See me, I got caught off guard because I didn't even know what's going on. I caught it at the beginning stages so I just pressed play by mistake and then I hurry up. But then everybody was asking for the video,
right.
So I know what went on and everything. But it's just so crazy how like dude was like famous, like my whole timeline from like.
I see it, but I was like, I am not gonna subscribe to this.
I still be seeing in my timeline where girls be like, send me the video.
I just think that he probably have more followers, more women than men, and the men is going to be watching their women. You know, I'm going to go hear Pastor Wilson speak. No, you can't be. Like, you know what I mean? But
he ain't going to be whoever the authoritative bishop is over that thing. He's not going to be. He can't be pastor.
Yeah. Why? Because he got caught on.
Not with your side. Yeah, that's your side.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't be leading nobody.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go back into hibernation for at least a couple years.
All right.
I got what it do. Humbling approach.
All right.
So you know the deacon next to him was licking his chops like, yeah, it's my turn. I got this fire sermon. No, but y'all need to watch, and not on the. You guys need to watch. I want to say it's called Righteous Jewels with Righteous Stones, Righteous Gemstones with Daddy McBride from Eastbound and Down.
Okay.
But basically, it got him and John Goodman in this.
I watched that. I've been watching it.
You watched that?
Yeah, I meant to watch it because
that's super funny.
Yes.
Man.
What was I watching where I saw a preview, but the series wasn't out yet, and I had made a mental note to watch it, and I did not watch it.
That's just
y'all gave me something to watch today.
And it's a few episodes out.
Yeah, it's like 7 episodes out.
Okay, I need to.
You up to date?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, man! That thing got me weak, man.
Yeah, we watched that. So
the church in the Sears malls, the mall in Sears was babies on that little dance.
But you know what though? I think, and don't get me wrong, y'all know. I think on one hand, I think when it comes to the church, sometimes people be so uptight and they don't like to have fun and all that. I'm not really with that. But I don't know. It was just like for it to be a pastor and then to be put out there on film
in the
doing that,
shop.
And then people like clowning about it. I didn't find it funny. But
you find it funny at all? None of the jokes. None.
No, I didn't.
I think it just gets redundant. Like the first time I see the jokes, they're funny, but then when I see them 30 times now, I'm like, all right.
And with social media, they just take everything and just blood. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
they put the dog in the window.
Yeah, like they just blood at.
Yeah, but I think the thing that I'm looking at as, as somebody who is a Christian who wants to see, because you see how people have left the church and say, because this, that, and the third, I don't believe in going to church or whatever. I have a spiritual relationship, but I feel like church, as far as people coming together, it can be good, and it does help refresh you for the week. And to see Like, I was like, man, this is another thing that's going to make people sad out of church.
I don't think so, though. Because I think everybody I think the people look from the outside looking in, yeah. But as far as, like, the people that's already experienced church, they know the flaws that come with people in the pulpit. And there's good people and there's bad people. I think everybody know that. And even the he say, she say that's in the... you know what I mean? Just the regular people in church.
And I'm not even saying that, because I know at the end of the day, your pastor's a human being, and they definitely have their own struggles just like anybody else. So it's important for us to not, like, put our pastor on a pedestal like they're God, unless they're not. They're a human being just like you.
Exactly.
They may have been called to.
And I'm not coming in church
life.
to believe in my pastor. I'm
Exactly.
coming in, you know what I'm saying? So like that stuff, I don't need.
And I don't think it gives the church a black eye. I just think it gives them a black eye. I think so. You might see it a different way than like we see it. I don't think it gives the church a black eye.
Because I would like to see more people come to church because I like my church. And I would hope that
I think
a lot of
people
churches are like my church. It was kind of like disheartening to see like this happen. And,
I think people like Creflo Dollar and things like that give the church a black eye. People just asking for jets and trying to live like it's
don't get me wrong. I did not subscribe to that either.
Like when
what I mean?
When preachers and stuff like that live like it's a Puff Daddy video. Even like, and again, the dude who bought his wife that Range Rover or whatever, that new Range Rover truck or whatever he did.
That was a
John. See, me, I don't have a problem with it, but that gives the church a black eye because everybody on the outside looking in, like you could be doing more for the
community. But you know what? I think he had explained that. Not that I feel like everybody who purchases, like the difference between him and Creflo Dollar was Creflo Dollar is asking for donations from the congregation and outside to buy this jet. Now, John Gray, I believe he explained that he bought his wife got because he got an advance on a book that he wrote.
But what I'm saying,
completely different.
But what I'm saying is, we know that, and like I said, I'm not knocking the dude for buying his wife that. But from the outside looking in, nobody's not going to look at the excuse. Also, somebody's going to say, look at him again, taking the church's money and back. That's all I'm saying. So I think stuff like that, when the pastor's like flashy and stuff like that, I think that gives the church more of a black eye than like any type of sexual or mess up or mishap. You know what I mean? Because you see it a lot in church. You see that a lot in church. Somebody messing around with somebody in the choir.
There's womanizers all over.
Oh, yeah.
Which is...
but
I mean, I don't know.
What y'all think is worse? The sleazy person who's trying to like leader, the sleazy leader, or like somebody who's like a sleazy professional person, like
the sleazy person in church, definitely.
All right, so what if I'm like like, you think somebody in church is worse than what's the name, Harvey Weinstein? That's what I'm saying. Which one's like? What y'all say is more like? Because technically, the way some of these people in the congregations
they
act,
both are bad. Like I can't. And the one chick that you wanted to talk about, whatever her name is,
Tony Rivera.
Mm-hmm. That's where she went and prayed on her people.
Church, I know.
She said that like that was her.
because
like that. I was,
right.
Like that. Crazy.
Right, and there's even like. But Tony Rivera, she's one type of predator. But then there's other type of people, and using like the same type of method as Tony Rivera, they'll fake prophesy to you in the church. You see me coming up in this prayer line, and you see me maybe pregnant, and I got no ring on my finger, and you gonna know exactly what to say in order to make it seem like you have this prophetic gift, and you're trying to give me. I don't have time for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, but I don't know. I look at it. That like for instance, being like a photographer and doing stuff like a famous photographer, or like having the power to give somebody a roll of cast when you doing creepy stuff like that. To me, that might be like the ultimate.
I think the using God thing makes it worse. You know what I mean? That's it.
Praying on
That
people's
takes,
weaknesses. Either
right.
way, it's work.
just
Like if you
that
just
bad.
praying on somebody's insecurities and their vulnerabilities, like it's just bad, no matter where it's coming from. Like you know what I mean? And that's ultimately
I
what
feel
they're
like
doing.
I go to God with my innermost vulnerabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Like with me and my boss at work, and it's an exchange. You're giving me money so that I can perform this task. Blah 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 blah. I may have an addiction that I'm dealing with that I don't want to expose to nobody, and I'm coming to God for that. And you know, I'm looking for love, and I'm looking to see the God in people so that I can feel like somebody is with me while I'm trying to get over this. So to have predators in place to attack you when you're trying to get past your innermost vulnerabilities, that's like extra like super slimy to me.
But when do you know it's somebody being a predator than somebody just being a fast butt in church?
What do you mean?
Somebody might be trying to give some, like, for instance, there might be a preacher that might be trying to give somebody the right advice or the right guidance, and they might end up falling for the person they're giving advice for. Too.
I mean, you talking about like if there's a single pastor?
Yeah. No, I'm not talking but single pastors pray to. I mean, they pray on certain people too. But what I'm saying is, do you find that like it's hard? There's a thin line between.
There is, but I feel like there's a godly way to approach somebody.
Because you know
what I mean.
Because I got caught up on the job like that before. I wasn't trying to be a womanizer, but when I was in a manager position, after like the third girl that I dated and the thing, I'm like, hold on, let me stop because this is starting to look sick. You know what I mean? But I wasn't doing it on purpose.
Right.
But it's like, you know what I mean? Once you start being around certain people for a certain amount of time, you start getting connected.
I had absolutely I dated somebody who I worked with years and years and years ago, and I had vowed to myself I would never do it again.
But it's like if I was just a regular employee, I wouldn't mind dating somebody I work with. It might be like, as far as I don't want to be around them at that time, that might be
just to keep a kosher work environment.
But as far as when you're the manager, you shouldn't be doing that. Period. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't feel like I was a bad person. I just got caught up. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean,
and I think preachers could be the same way. I mean, again, what you supposed to believe in is you supposed to not. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I mean, I definitely think, especially a pastor or preacher, you know, having a wife is a good thing, and there's nothing wrong with you trying to find a wife, you know, who's gonna make you better or, you know, enhance your life in a good way. But there's a godly way to do that, you know, and you know, when you're cultivating friendships, because ultimately, as a Christian, you know, you're not really dating as the world may see it, but when you're cultivating friendships, if you really have the mindset on having a wife, you're going to be able to weed out who's for you and who's not for you. This is my opinion, without there being like any inappropriateness there. You understand what I'm saying?
So you think can you be a preacher and not? Can you be a preacher and still be trying to find yourself, or you feel like you need to already found yourself and then try to carry the word of God?
I think you know, I think we're always finding ourselves, like, because there's one thing that I definitely love is the word be transformed by the renewal of your mind. And the renewal of your mind is a continuous process until the day.
But what I'm saying is, so while I'm trying to find myself as a preacher, it's going to be hard for me to weed girls out whenever I'm still trying to find what I'm looking for.
As a preacher or as a pastor? Because they're different.
A preacher. Now, as a pastor, I feel like you should have all your eggs lined up in the rest.
If you're still trying to find yourself as a preacher, I would hope that you have the maturity level or the self-awareness to know that this is not the right time for you to date. Because anybody who you come in contact with you might end up messing them up because you're trying to find yourself. You don't know what you want, so you need to know and get with God in relationship to figure out when you're ready to take on a wife.
All right, well, that's all I wanted.
Sorry.
But
So is our time up, or?
yeah, I think so.
We had a good conversation today.
I didn't think that Pastor Wilson was going to hit like that. But
I didn't either.
I mean, shout out to Pastor Wilson. I mean,
no, you don't got to keep saying I mean.
Because I mean, I just think that he's human. Like, he's human and he got caught up. Like, you know what I mean? Because he has pastor in front of his last name. Okay, but just like the president, like,
he is human.
you know what I'm saying? Like, he got caught up.
Now sit down somewhere.
Okay.
In the barbershop.
Yeah.
Like, how you get caught up in the barbershop?
No, I thought that was two different things.
See, I don't know. See, I was
barbershop.
Oh, okay, so I don't know what's going on.
You know what happened at the barbershop?
No. See, that's me. I apologize. I'm acting on again, just reading down my timeline.
Yeah, I don't know what happened at the barbershop.
So that wasn't at the barbershop?
I don't think so, but I don't know.
This girl had the camera in his face.
Yikes.
Pastor ain't care at that point. I just hope he got a good bishop to help him get on the right track. Because I know he's like a real celebrity right now. He could go all the way
I need y'all to keep Pastor Wilson.
Let me tell you one thing. If VH1 come to him with a reality show, he better not take it.
I'm not watching it. So
yeah.
I bet you a lot of people would.
I mean, I'm sure they would.
But I think that'll take him on the wrong track, and he might not never.
And you know what? Because I know a lot of some of our subscribers, they may not be Christian or whatever, but at the end of the day, even on a worldly level, we definitely want to wish the best for Pastor Wilson, because I would never condone anybody cheating on their wife in any way, shape, or form.
Actually, I don't feel bad for Pastor Wilson. I feel bad for his wife and the looks and everything, because she might try to go back to the same
embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
So, like, as far as Pastor Wilson, he got to do what he did with, because ain't no telling how long he been walking around doing whatever with this.
Yeah, he been doing that. That wasn't his first time.
So
like,
I don't feel bad for him.
I mean, I kind of believe that, homegirl was offered a position in the choir and didn't get it, so that's why she exposed him. Because why now? Why did she put that out there now?
A position in the choir.
She's such a lead singer or whatever.
Y'all need to make episode of Greenwood.
First of all,
just be careful out here with these videos. Everybody got these smartphones, but everybody ain't smart behind these phones.
Right.
And once you hit send, it's gone.
The phone
that's it. So be mindful of those things. Try to censor and control things like you.
That's the wrong person.
You can't. So.
Or Kelly.
All right, guys. So, is we finished or is we done?
I mean, unless you got something else.
Don't you guys make it to the meat market?
I did.
Oh, yeah.
I did.
Sorry, we're going to wrap this up. Okay. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to email us, email us at opvpodcast@gmail.com. Love you guys. See you later. Thank you.
I want to see the likes. What's that? The thumb? The up thumb? The likes. We need more likes.
Yeah.
All right. Later.